much of the investment community is focused this week on the US Federal Reserve meeting, which is a chance to announce the first increase in US interest rates since the global financial crisis. We would never align our clients' long-term strategy to the machinations of a global policymaker. But there are a couple of things that are exercising our mind in light of this potential change. The first is what's the implication for emerging markets, and the second is what impact there'll be on the Australian dollar. Firstly, to emerging markets, and there's a credible thesis that suggests that much of the liquidity created by quantitative easing has been invested in risk assets across the globe, but particularly in emerging markets. With rising rates of returns because of increased interest rates, the thesis is that money will be repatriated into the US, putting significant downward pressure on emerging market equities and currencies. Some of this has been happening already. Our view is that given the modest exposure to emerging markets in our client portfolios, rather than try and exit or time in and outs to that region, it's an important additional diversification to have some modest exposure, particularly to the Asian region, where Australian investors can get exposure to positive demographic and productive changes as there are structural improvements to economies in the region. The second is the Australian dollar, which clearly, if interest rates continue to fall here and rates are at the same time rising in the US, that there will be downward pressure on the Australian dollar. To us, this highlights the need to continue to have adequate international diversification in all client portfolios. We've become very accustomed to be able to easily buy goods and services from overseas. And if we wish to continue to maintain this standard of living, we must have a hedge against an Australian dollar that may even at some points in the future be much lower than it is today. So we'll be continuing to watch with interest what policymakers do across the globe, but we also will be committed to taking a strategic long-term view and not getting distracted by short-term noise. Looking forward to talking to you soon.